Welcome back to Inside City Hall. 2 years ago, Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. threw his support to Congressman Charles Rangel, helping the congressman get reelected to a 22nd term. But today, Diaz announced that this time around he's backing Rangel's main challenger, State Senator Adriano Espaillat. Here to talk about his decision, we've got Ruben Diaz Jr. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
It's good to be back, Errol.
Now, there's a sort of a factual question that lies behind all of this stuff. Now, we asked Congressman Rangel if he indeed ever said to anybody that 2012 was going to be his last go-round. And he says anybody who says that is, his words, a damn liar. You've made some suggestion that your understanding of your conversations with him 2 years ago was that was going to be his last term.
It's not just me. There's many people, but I did, after the election, have lunch with the congressman in the Bronx. And it was understood that that was going to be his last time running. And so what we wanted to do is, we've been in conversations with Adriano ever since. And we wanted the congressman to go out with dignity. We wanted to give him the opportunity with his experience, with his seniority in Congress, to help us out in the Bronx. And so, he wants to run again, but we're saying that we need to turn the page. We're saying that we need to write a new chapter. And that's why today there was such enthusiasm. There was such large support from not just myself, but from the county chairman, Carl Hasty, and many, many different Bronxites, the Bronx Democratic Organization. And come June 24th, I think that we're going to get a new Democratic nominee for that congressional seat.
Now, you've been around politics your whole life. Your father's a state senator, and you know this game pretty well. People have been trying to get Charlie Rangel to retire with dignity for something like 25 years now. I mean, was there any reason to think that he meant it, in some different kind of a way? Because folks have been saying for a while now, hey, pass the torch, pass the torch. They said it when he was 40. They said it when he was 50, 60, 70. He's 85 now. And
I mean, look, he's been around for quite some time. We gave him the opportunity, but Errol, in the Bronx, we need help. In the Bronx, when you look at certain areas in our borough, we need that federal assistance that we're just not getting. For instance, in the South Bronx, the General Post Office is being closed down. And we wanted help from the House of Representatives, and that just didn't happen. When you look at the highways, like the Cross Bronx, when you look at the Sheridan, we need the Tiger grants from the federal government. We need somebody advocating for us. We need something different to happen because we have been shortchanged. When you look at other parts of the city, other Congress members are doing so much around Sandy relief, so much around other federal programs, whether it's the Small Business Administration, and we feel like we're just not getting that. And so what we want to do is give Adriano, somebody who has been a champion for affordable housing, someone who's been there in economic development, has been a strong voice, not only in the Assembly where I served with him, but also in the State Senate. We need that new energy. We need to turn the page. And we believe that Adriano understands the issues of Manhattan and the upper part of Manhattan, but he also understands the Bronx. We believe that Espaillat is that individual who can be a coalition builder, who could represent many different communities because he already has done that. When he was in the State Senate, he represented Riverdale and did a great job at that. So he is that bridge that we're going to need so that Manhattan can continue to get the representation that they deserve, and so does the Bronx. He can be that historic figure that could continue to represent in such a historic seat.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a minute. I mean, he would be a 60-year-old freshman, right? I mean, so you're saying that he could do more as a freshman than a 23-term incumbent?
Well, we've been there. We've been waiting for the last 2 years, and he's saying that this, Charlie Rangel rather, he's saying that this is going to be the last time that he runs. So we have no time to wait. We don't have the time to waste in order to have Adriano start his or the next congressman start their seniority 2 years from now. We need that voice in Congress, a voice that will be heard now in this next coming Congress.
You mentioned making history. If elected, Espaillat would become the first Dominican-American elected to Congress. So there's that history. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, you can't deny also that part of the decision is because the demographics have changed. And you see that in other parts of the city. You see new representation. For instance, in Queens, there's Grace Meng. So now here in the Bronx and in Washington Heights, in El Barrio and Harlem, there's no denying that the demographics now show that 55% of the people who live in that congressional district are Latinos. And so we need representation also that can help reflect and voice that community.
Charlie Rangel's Puerto Rican dad doesn't count?
Charlie Rangel has done well in years past, and I said that. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the congressman. But we're talking about moving forward. That was the message today. We're talking about turning that page, and it was just understood that the congressman either was going to run the last time or that this is going to be his last time out. We don't have the luxury to wait.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you in our last couple of minutes about some other things. You had a bill where you wanted to have sort of something akin to a sex offender registry,
right,
but for people convicted of gun offenses. I know Senator Klein, who's part of the Senate leadership, put it in the state budget. What happened in the end?
In the end, unfortunately, my former colleagues in the New York State Assembly did not put it as part of the budget, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to fight. We're going to visit that issue here locally in the city of New York. And I think that more and more New Yorkers and more folks are coming to the realization that they want to know who are the individuals who have committed gun crimes, where do they live, and how is it that they can make sure that they stay away from them or identify them again should something go wrong in their communities.
Did the governor weigh in on that? Where was he on that issue?
The governor was waiting to see what the legislators wanted to do. I think that he had other priorities. Obviously, UPK was a priority. Campaign finance was a big priority. But at some point, just like we did with other issues and with other projects like the 4 Metro North stations, we'll get this on the governor's radar. And I think that we're going to continue to speak to members of the Assembly and hopefully in the next session or even in a special session, we'll get this into law in the state of New York.
And finally, in our last minute, universal pre-kindergarten, of course, is a big issue. They're trying to get a big rollout happening. You have one of the younger boroughs, actually.
Right.
You've got lots of kids there. Are you involved in the task force? Are you involved in trying to sort of make sure there's going to be enough space for the fall?
I'm not directly a member of the task force, but we just had a meeting last week with Gladys Carry-On because we know that ACS is going to play a big role with some of the providers. In the next coming weeks, we're going to be meeting with a consortium of different administrators with the chancellor. And certainly I'm going to be monitoring what this is going to mean with regards to seats in the borough. Our kids need the services, and our parents need that from the standpoint of being able to look for a job, as well as we have many young educators who are going to be looking for those positions to be able to teach the kids. So for us, this is an issue of educating our kids, hiring people who are teachers, or in many of the institutions that provide the services, and as well as opening up and giving the ability and opportunities for mothers, especially single mothers, to go out there and seek employment. Okay, we'll be watching, and we'll be watching on the campaign trail where the time is upon us, actually, the Democratic primary. So we'll see you out on the campaign trail. We urging everybody out there. You're going to see the floodgates open up. You're going to see a lot of big names coming out for Adriano Espaillat. We're excited about it, and again, this is the time to write a new chapter of history for the city of New York and in the House of Representatives. Okay. Ruben Diaz Jr., thanks for joining us. We are going to take a short break now. Straight ahead, we'll take a closer look into the dispute between Governor Cuomo and U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara. I'll be joined by a top reporter who's covering that story, and by Mark Green, who served on another commission of the governor's and wrote a critical column about him over the weekend. Later on in our Consultants Corner, we'll talk about what's ahead for Mayor de Blasio now that he has passed the 100-day milestone in office. We're back in a minute.